What is Shinto? Shinto is the indigenous faith of the Japanese people, and as old as Japan itself. It remains Japan's major religion alongside Buddhism. The term Shinto is often translated into English as the way of the gods, although it has varied meanings in Japan. Core beliefs and key concepts in Shinto. Some of the core beliefs and key concepts in Shinto are purity, both physical cleanliness and the avoidance of disruption, and spiritual purity. Physical well-being. Harmony, or wa, exists in all things and must be maintained against imbalance. Procreation and fertility. Family and ancestral solidarity. Subordination of the individual to the group. Reverence of nature. All things have the potential for both good and bad. The soul, or Tama, of the dead can influence the living before it joins with the collective kami of its ancestors. Origins of Shinto. Unlike many other religions, Shinto has no recognized founder. It must be noted that the peoples of ancient Japan had long held animistic beliefs, worshipped divine ancestors, and communicated with the spirit world via shamans. Some elements of these beliefs were incorporated into the first recognized religion practiced in Japan, Shinto, which began during the period of the Yayoi culture, circa 300 BCE to 300 CE. For example, certain natural phenomena and geographical features were given an attribution of divinity. Most obvious amongst these are the sun goddess Amaterasu and the wind god Susanoo. Rivers and mountains were especially important, none more so than Mount Fuji, whose name derives from the Ainu name, Fuchi, the god of the volcano. In Shinto, gods, spirits, supernatural forces, and essences are known as kami, and governing nature in all its forms, they are thought to inhabit places of particular natural beauty. In contrast, evil spirits or demons, oni, are mostly invisible, with some envisioned as giants with horns and 3 eyes. Their power is usually only temporary, and they do not represent an inherent evil force. Ghosts are known as obeki and require certain rituals to send away before they cause harm. Some spirits of dead animals can even possess humans, the worst being the fox, and these individuals must be exorcised by a priest. On Shinto gods. As with many other ancient religions, the Shinto gods represent important astrological, geographical, and meteorological phenomena, which are ever present and considered to affect daily life. These gods, or ujigami, were associated with specific ancient clans, or uji. Unusually, the sun and supreme deity is female, Amaterasu. Her brother is Susanoo, the god of the sea and storms. The creator gods are Izanami and Izanagi, who formed the islands of Japan. From Izanagi's left eye was born Amaterasu, while from his nose sprang Susanoo. From the god's right eye Tsukuyomi, the moon god, was born. Susanoo and Amaterasu battled with each other following Susanoo's disgraceful behavior. Amaterasu hid herself in a cave, darkening the world, and the gods could not tempt her out again despite offering fine jewels and a mirror. Finally, an erotic dancer caused such laughter that Amaterasu relented and came out to see the fuss. Susanoo turned over a new leaf, and, slaying an 8-headed dragon monster which was terrifying a farming family, he gave the sword he found in one of the creature's 8 tails to Amaterasu in reconciliation. The dispute is taken by historians to represent the victory of the Yamato clan, represented by Amaterasu, over their rivals the Izumo, represented by Susanoo. Susanoo returned to Earth, the reed plain, and married a daughter of the family he had saved from the monster Yamato no Orokai. Together they created a new race of gods who ruled the earth. Eventually, Amaterasu became concerned at the power these gods wielded, and so she sent her grandson Hononiju with certain symbols of sovereignty. These were the jewels and mirror the gods used to persuade Amaterasu out of her cave and the sword given to her by Susanoo, known later as Kusanagi. These three objects would become part of the imperial regalia of Japan. Another symbol carried by Hononiju was the magnificent Magatama jewel, which had special fertility powers. Hononiju landed on Mount Takachio in Kyushu and made a deal with the most powerful of the gods, Okunanushi. For his loyalty to Amaterasu, Okunanushi would have the important role of protector of the future royal family. Later, the god would be regarded as the protector of all Japan. Other important divine figures include Inari, the rice god Kami, seen as particularly charitable and important also to merchants, shopkeepers, and artisans. Inari's messenger is the fox, a popular figure in temple art. The seven lucky gods, or Shichifukujin, are understandably popular, especially Daikokyutin and Abisu, who represent wealth. Daikokyutin is also considered the god of the kitchen, and so is revered by cooks and chefs. As described below, the Shinto and Buddhist faiths became closely intertwined in ancient Japan, and as a consequence, some Buddhist figures, the Bosatsu, or enlightened beings, became popular kami with practitioners of Shinto. Three such figures are Amida, ruler of the Pure Land, that is, heaven, Kannon, protector of children, women in childbirth, and dead souls, and Jizo, protector of those in pain and the souls of dead children. Another popular figure who crosses both faiths is Hachiman, a warrior god. Finally, some mortals were given divine status after their deaths. Perhaps the most famous example is the scholar Sugawara no Mikazane, also known as Tenjin, who was badly treated at court and exiled. A wave of devastating fires and plague shortly after his death hit the imperial capital, which many took as a sign from the gods of their anger at Tenjin's unjust treatment. The impressive Kitaeno Tenmangu Shrine at Kyoto was built in 947 CE in his honor, and Tenjin became the patron god of scholarship and education. Shinto and Buddhism. Buddhism had arrived in Japan in the 6th century BCE, as part of the Sinification process of Japanese culture. Other elements not to be ignored here are the principles of Taoism and Confucianism, which traveled across the waters just as Buddhist ideas did, especially the Confucian importance given to purity and harmony. These different belief systems were not necessarily in opposition, and both Buddhism and Shinto found enough mutual space to flourish side by side for many centuries in ancient Japan. By the end of the Heian period, 794 to 1185 CE, some Shinto karma spirits and Buddhist bodhisattvas were formally combined to create a single deity, thus creating Ryobu Shinto, or double Shinto. As a result, sometimes images of Buddhist figures were incorporated into Shinto shrines, and some Shinto shrines were managed by Buddhist monks. Of the two religions, Shinto was more concerned with life and birth, showed a more open attitude to women, and was much closer to the imperial house. The two religions would not be officially separated until the 19th century CE. Shinto worship and festivals. The sanctity of shrines means that worshippers must cleanse themselves, o-harai, before entering them, commonly by washing their hands and mouth with water. Then, when ready to enter, they make a small money offering, ring a small bell or clap their hands twice to alert the kami, and then bow while saying their prayer. A final clap indicates the end of the prayer. It is also possible to request a priest offer one's prayer. Small offerings might include a bowl of sake, or rice wine, rice, and vegetables. As many shrines are in places of natural beauty such as mountains, visiting these shrines is seen as an act of pilgrimage, Mount Fuji being the most famous example. Believers sometimes wear omamori, too, which are small embroidered sachets containing prayers to guarantee the person's well-being. As Shinto has no particular view on the afterlife, Shinto cemeteries are rare. Most followers are cremated and interred in Buddhist cemeteries. The calendar is punctuated by religious festivals to honor particular kami. During these events, portable shrines may be taken to sites linked to a kami, or there are parades of colorful floats, and worshippers sometimes dress to impersonate certain divine figures. Amongst the most important annual festivals are the 3-day Shogatsu Matsuri or Japanese New Year Festival, the Obon Buddhist celebration of the dead returning to the ancestral home, which includes many Shinto rituals, and the annual local Matsuri, when a shrine is transported around the local community to purify it and ensure its future well-being.